Hey there, welcome to the Luz Lemire channel. Today is January 25th. Welcome to your January 25th guidance. May I please have some guidance for the day, January 25th, please? We're going to try and use our friends, the So Below tarot. My tarot has been so funky, I don't even know why I'm using it. Maybe it's just the one deck, but anyway. May I please have the guidance for today? Guidance to take us to our highest good, please. For today, the day. I'm asking for guidance. January 25th. Let's take it. The Hanged Man. I love this Hanged Man. Number one, she's doing something modern like yoga. She's smiling. She's zenned out, chilled out. She's basking in the sun, indoors. Nothing much distracting her. To me, she kind of actually seems like I was about to say a poor lady, but she seems like a woman who is not necessarily living a minimalistic life. Like, she could be living a minimalistic life, but I feel like she just recently moved into this apartment, or she is just not as financially stable as she would want to be. Simply because it reminds me of a New York like apartment, like things are really expensive in New York. The whole real estate is expensive in New York, and I'm just looking at this like a dirty corner over here and all these specs and stuff. I just feel like she's finding her peace in a situation that isn't that ideal, but she's like, you wouldn't know it looking at this at first glance. It's only when you study it that you're like, oh, actually. But because she's so content, it just doesn't it doesn't look like there's things that are off in her world. I feel like I just read myself, girl. And she's got this tree that you would think is dead, but it's actually like the type of tree, and dare I say it's blooming. Actually, it's blooming. It seems like winter is almost over, or we're reaching the end of days of winter, and she's been through it, and she's finding her peace. She's entering into a state of gentle surrender, where she's like, shit, look, I can't go outside to do my workouts, my run. I can't do certain things. There's that chaos and conflict from several days ago, and this to me is almost like the human embodiment of that message. Where there's chaos, yes, there's conflict, yes, there's a need to be gentle with myself, and etc. And the only way for me to do that is to surrender to the now and be here in it. And this is her attempt to being in the here and now, a gentle surrender. One that actually helps her in her body, one that improves her inner balance. And she looks pretty content, regardless of what is going on around her, what her personal situation is. And she's added her own little touch. We don't need these candles. I don't think the light that's coming in is the candles. This reminds me of the verse in the Bible where the first thing God says is, let there be light. And then later on he says, there's later on in the Genesis, the chapter 1, the creation, he says, let there be light. But then in the beginning, I wish I have my Bible right here. I should get it. But he says he separated the light from the darkness, I think, in Genesis. It's like one of the first few words. And then later on he says, let there be light. So it makes you wonder, what is the first light that he separated? I need to look it up. It's just because it is reminding me of how she's lit these little candles. It's probably so irrelevant, but it's reminding me how she's lit these little candles here. She's lit these candles, but they're really for her. In the same way that God said, gave us the light of the stars to guide us, we don't need the stars necessarily. Like, the stars, yes, they light up the night, and that's what they were there for. Girl, let me find it. Shit. I'm gonna find that. Voice. Yeah, see. And blue is calming. Okay. I don't get it. Why would you give me 120? I don't get it. Give me the book of Genesis, B. Okay. Yeah, you know you're doing some crazy stuff that I don't know what you're doing. Oh my gosh. Okay. In Genesis 1, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Da 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 da. Yeah. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. That's weird. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Okay, so that was the first light, right? He said, "Let there be light." And God saw the light, and God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning, the first day. And then he goes on and on and on and does the rest of the stuff. And then another part where he says about light, he said something about the trees, and there was evening and there was morning and the third day. So on the fourth day, God goes, and God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night. And let them be signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years." So this second set of lights is the lights of the night, the stars, the moon, which help us with our which is funny because the seasons, the sun tells us about the season. So it makes you wonder what that first light was that he used to separate day and night, because you would assume that day and night was the sun, but it looks like the sun actually comes in on the fourth day, because that's the light that separates the day from the night. And it was so. But I think these are the stars. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night and the stars. Meaning, either the great first light was the sun, or he made the sun and the moon and the stars on the fourth day, which makes you wonder what that first "let there be light" be. In any case, girl, I digress. These candles here, what I see from them is they're not necessarily needed, but they are needed. While we have the greater light of the sun outside that is basking on this woman's body, what she's getting and what she's done for herself are these candles. So she's here voluntarily, right? No one's putting candles around someone who they put there on purpose. Yoga, especially getting into this particular pose of yoga, is something that you do for yourself. The Hanged Man is a really a fun message, and a lot of people I found it's their favorite sort of major. I The Hangman is one of like contemplation, pause, enlightenment, change of perspective, martyrdom, delay. Uh, it reminds me of like gestational growth, um, almost like incubation, that type of thing. And that's our guidance for today. Not all of the above. I feel like this is less martyrdom than it is us stepping into a power where we surrender our power. Do you know what? Because that's a lot of what I really like about. Oh, that's a lot of what the membership is about. Really, sovereignty is about being able to decide if you're gonna hop on the ride or decide if you're gonna hop off the ride. And I feel like this person has used their sovereign power to find and create the peace within themselves, despite and in spite of and in light of what's going on in their current circumstances. Let's go on ahead and look at, why is that crooked, bro? Like, to me it doesn't look crooked, but on camera it looks crooked, and then it irks my soul. The Hands Man. In this deck, it means willing surrender to an experience or situation. Come through. Come through. And that's awesome. So I did it. We did it together. Yes. Gave myself a high five. Today our guidance is to willingly surrender. To willingly step into and claim our sovereignty over our situation by saying, you won't get the best of me, I choose to be in this. This I can relate to love, first and foremost, because I realize a lot of people find my channel through love. And through not so much things going well in their love life, okay? Let's not mix two ways about it. Let's say you are single, and you're tired of being single, and you don't want to be single anymore. You want to have somebody. You want to go somewhere with somebody. You want to be with somebody, but not just anybody. You want to be with somebody who loves you, right? You want to be with somebody who wants to be with you, not just someone who settles for you. You want to be with somebody who feels excited to be with you. And so how you claim your sovereignty over your singlehood is, while you're wanting something coupled, to me, is in what I just said. Knowing that life isn't necessarily doing singlehood to you, but you are choosing to be single because I feel like you could probably get somebody if you wanted to, but you don't want just anybody, right? You want somebody who wants you. You want somebody who you want back. You have certain standards about what you're wanting in your love life. And so when you remember that and when you remind yourself of that, then you are able to stand in your power in your singlehood and say, yeah, this is the circumstance that I'm in, and I want someone who is this, this, that, and the other. And that's who I want to be with. And until then, until the doors open for that, yes, I am entertaining people, but I'm not going to forsake my singlehood for just anybody. It's got to be somebody who ... Right? That's you claiming your sovereignty. If you're in a situationship, my favorite type of ship, it's not my favorite ship, it's my most common type of ship. If you're in a situationship, you get to decide, honestly, you do get to decide whether you get to participate in said situationship or not. I don't care what kind of bond you think you have. Here's how you do that, because otherwise you'd be torn for a fucking loop. Your heart hurts. Heartbreak sucks. It's like, it's an actual pain, and it's horrible. And anyway, you get to choose whether you want to continue in said situationship and see where it goes. You get to decide that no, this person isn't taking me for a ride. I am choosing to see where this ride is going. I am consciously making a decision to be in this situationship. And you take away the power from the other person or the ride that you're on and say, I am choosing to be in this because I could easily block this person. I could easily just never talk to them again. It wouldn't be so easy. It wouldn't be so simple. Yeah, it wouldn't be so easy, but it would be simple. It's something you could do. You could have your friend do it if you couldn't do it. But you not doing that is you making some sort of choice. So you're choosing to be in it. And I would say, fucking embrace it. You do yourself a lot of trouble. You save yourself the embarrassment. You save yourself the guilt. That happens when the shit that's been happening happens again. And you're like, oh, and I'm back again. This person keeps doing this. And it's like, yeah, but you're also a participant. But you know what's better than just being a fucking random ass participant? Being a willing participant. Because in that way, you know that you're in your power and you're choosing to see where this ride goes. So I would say step into your sovereignty and choose to see where the ride goes, or choose to reject the whole fucking situation and throw yourself out of there. By blocking, by telling the person that you're out and meaning it. And if you can't mean it, find a way to claim your power in a way that suits you. So if that means you stay in the situation and see how it goes, you ride it out and trust God, then fine. Or you choose to exit that situation and trust God that way. But you get to choose. You get to step into and make that situation something that your sovereignty is saying. You're claiming back some of your fucking power. If you're in a couple, I don't know what to say to you couples. I don't know what to say to you couples. What's wrong with you couple? I haven't been in a couple situation in ages or ever. I don't know what the couples go through. I don't know. Choose to work with your partner. You have a partner. Choose to work with them. It's not just up to you to make your relationship work. It's up to the both of you. But you get to choose if you want to work with them or if you want to work alone. You get to choose if you want to have certain conversations. You get to choose if you want to back off and let them have their space to do what they need to do. You get to choose. When it comes to work situations, yes, there seem to be some more external factors in terms of where you're going to get your money from and how much money you get. But there are things that you can do to choose. You can find other jobs. You can at least try to see if there are other places that may make you happy. Again, I'm picking mundane examples that I know about. You know how this could work in your life. You can choose to ignore somebody or you can choose to face the problem head on. Just choose consciously. Be aware of the choice that you are making. Yes, the person may be forcing your hand or making you XYZ, but at the same time, you get a little bit more of your own power. You get a little bit more of your own back when you don't enter into martyr, when you say, nah, you know what? I'm choosing to be in this situation. You get a lot more of your power back that way than when you let life beat you around or shove you around or have someone else's power dictate the motion of the ocean. And even if it's you saying that you have no power in the situation, at least you're consciously being in a state of surrender where that's my favorite thing. When I feel completely powerless, I just say, fine, fuck it, I surrender. Like, Lord, move me how you need to move me, use me how you need to use me, because clearly I have no power in this fucking shit. So do what you need to do. Just help me, grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot change. And when it's time for me to change something, please, Lord, give me the courage to do what I need to do. And grant me the wisdom to know the difference. But in this moment, I surrender. So today, the spirit that is traveling with us, that is guiding us today, is the Hanged Man. Suspension. Gestation. Surrender to what you need to surrender to, if you need to surrender to anything. Willingly. Willingly. Oh, willing surrender to an experience or situation. Also find a way to deal with it. She's found a way to deal with her situation by doing yoga. What can you do that can further your benefit as you deal with what's going on? Something that can further you, I say specifically, not something that you escape to. I hope that makes sense. So this isn't necessarily eating your emotions or smoking your emotions or drinking your emotions or, finding a way to do all these things through vices. It's finding something that can benefit you so that at least when the storm is over, when you're no longer living in a rat-infested New York apartment or whatever that feels like for you in your life, at least you can say, hey, I learned to play the ukulele. Hey, at least I learned to paint. Hey, at least I learned to sew. Hey, at least I read so many books and now I have a hobby in 13th century East African history. Excuse me. Something that can benefit you, so at least, you're coming out of it with something ironic. Okay? Because this is really ironic, isn't it? A calm in the storm. That's an ironic thing. It's like rain on a wedding day. Except this time, it's not so much the irony of like rain on your wedding day. It's more so like a wedding day on rain. On a rainy day. It's like the rain was the shitstorm and you decided to make a celebration in the shitstorm. Doing something where you claimed some semblance of power on a day that should have been ideally shit. Keep your light on, babe, and good luck.